Hey, welcome back to school. We wanted to take some time today to just welcome you back to school and tell you how excited we are to have you back in school. It's been kind of lonely just being here by ourselves in all virtual learning. And we also wanted to go over what some of our goals are and also review some of our protocols and things like that. So some of the first things that we want to go over are our goals for this year. And we've gone over a lot of these in Swarm already, but we wanted to just go over them again since we haven't been able to practice a lot of these things being together at school. We know that our main goal here at school is to build a sense of community, for us to show up well for one another and take care of each other and accomplish big things together. And so you're going to see the phrase "together we thrive" everywhere. You've already seen it everywhere, and your swarm leaders have already talked to you about this. But we are really committed to showing up well for you every single day, and we're committed to showing up for each other really well every single day and leaning in to help one another. And we want to help you do the same thing. So our goal is for all of us to do our part to show up well together for one another and to build a really strong sense of community where everybody feels like they have a place and everybody feels like they have somebody to lean on. And this is a really nice place to be all the time, even when we're trying to follow all these crazy protocols and things we have to do to keep everybody safe during COVID. I know that in Swarm, your leaders have talked to you about our PRIDE acronym and the things that that stands for. And one thing I wanted to share with you in addition to that is this idea that we talked about together as a staff about how privileged we are and how blessed we are to be in a place where we all care so much about one another and we all strive for so much excellence, and how much that privilege of being able to be part of that gives us a great responsibility to pay it forward. And so I just wanted to share that with you. I think it's important for us to remember what we're grateful for and how we've been blessed, and then to pay that forward to others through acts of kindness and how we show up well for each other and how we take what we've been blessed with and we use that in a really responsible way. So I wanted to give you that message as we get back to being here in person also. And to also remind you to communicate with us. We're going to communicate with you in the best ways we know how, and we're going to continue to grow in that. But when you need something or you're struggling or you have something to celebrate, tell us. Let a teacher know. Let your swarm leader know. Let us know in the office. Come see us. Send us an email. Send us a DM on Instagram. Just help us help you by being really active in that communication process that we're just continuing to try to make better each and every day. And then we're really going to work on good habits. We've already been working on good habits like goal setting, showing up well for one another, being kind, getting things done on time, sticking with a schedule, being organized, all of those things. But we're really going to focus on how we show up well for one another. And how we show up well for one another and for ourselves is by developing those habits so that we don't even have to think about being organized. We don't even have to think about being on top of our game. It's just a habit that we do it. And then we end up with so much more freedom because of that. And I want you to be unafraid to ask questions. The whole purpose of school is to learn. The learning process is about trying things, making mistakes, failing, trying again, making more mistakes, trying again. We never expect you to already know something that is in the lesson that you've never had before. And I want you to really think about that. If you were already supposed to know what's coming up in December in history class, you wouldn't be here. So I want you to really embrace that you're learning, and that means you're going to make mistakes. That means you're not going to know stuff. That means we're going to dig for stuff and do research and figure things out. And it's going to be bumpy along the way. And we're going to learn how to struggle, and we're going to learn how to struggle through together so that when we hit obstacles outside of school, whether it's now or later on in life, we know how to move past those obstacles. And a huge piece of that is asking questions. asking questions about what the expectation is, but also asking questions that kind of dig deeper into whatever it is we're learning. So I want to encourage you to ask questions. And then you've seen this PRIDE acronym before. We are really working on these skills. We want this to be who we are, not just something we know about, but we want this to embody who we are as a school family and as a school community. And those things are perseverance, not quitting when things get tough, respect, that is being kind to everyone, especially when they don't deserve it, integrity, doing the right thing, especially when nobody is watching to see if we do the right thing, discipline, creating those habits so that we can excel even when we don't have the motivation, even when we don't feel like it. So I read something really cool not that long ago that said, it's not motivation that gets us through, it's discipline. Because we're never going to be motivated to do a thing all the time. But by using self-discipline, we create the habit that takes motivation out of it. And we never have to rely on trying to be motivated. We just rely on our self-discipline. And then because we have that discipline, we end up getting all of this freedom because we've always put first things first. And then excellence, striving to do our very best, even when we don't feel like it, even when it gets tough. And we're just going to continue to work on those skills so that we can embody that acronym. Hornet Pride is a big deal in our community, and we want it to embody those things. So I just wanted to give you that reminder this morning. I know you are working through those things and what it means and learning together as we build our sworn families, but I wanted to give you that message this morning. The last things I want to talk about in this first video today, whether you're here with us on Monday in A group or whether you are with us Wednesday in B group, are about some of the protocols we're putting in place. I know you watched the 2.5-minute video last week sometime about what that was going to look like, and I just want to reiterate some of those things. I want to talk first about masks. We all have these. First, I want to clarify that anything that covers your nose and your mouth, it can be one of these masks that does this. It can be one of the surgical masks. It can be one of the neck gaiters. Those all count as the cloth face coverings that we have to wear anytime we are not eating and drinking. And we really have to help each other show up well in that way, because it's one of the mandates we have for us to be able to be in school together, is that now that we wear these all the time, unless we are actively eating and drinking. And what that does is it provides another layer of protection for people who are near us, and ultimately for people at home, because it reduces the likelihood that we are taking things home to other people that we might not even know we have. And that's a big deal with this virus. Is at your age, you may never show a symptom of having COVID, but you can spread it to other people. And so the masks are one of the things that help keep us safe. So you will only see us as adults in the building without these unless we are actively eating or drinking, and we're going to ask you to do the same. And we may have to remind you a time or two. We get it. You're not used to doing it at home. I'm not used to doing it at home either. There have been a couple of days I have forgotten until I've gotten into school to put mine on, but people have helped remind me, and we're going to help remind you. So when we remind you, it's a reminder. We're not getting on to you. We're not fussing at you. We're not yelling at you, but we've got to stay in the habit of keeping them on, and keeping them pulled up and wearing them properly is over our nose and our mouth. That's what the state guidelines say. So that's what we have to adhere to here at school. And I know you guys know most of that already, but I just wanted to review it. And then I want to talk about distance, because the distance thing is hard. And to be honest, it kind of sucks. It kind of sucks to come in and not be able to go to the commons area and hang out and socialize. I get it. That's been one of my favorite parts of the day with you, is to get to watch you interact with each other. And I get to interact with you in a little bit different way than in the classroom. And so I'm sad that we can't do that too. But the reason we are doing so much distancing is because if we don't do distancing and somebody in your class gets sick and gets COVID, many of us are going to end up quarantined or isolated and potentially getting sick and taking that home to family members as well. So Ms. Duffy shared with us and our board members last night in a meeting that if we don't do distancing, if we don't stay 6 feet away from everybody at all times while we're at school, one of us getting sick could potentially create a situation where 28 of us end up being quarantined if that person gets sick. That means there's the risk that 20 or more people could take COVID home to a family member, and we want to prevent that. Lots of us have family members who are high risk, either because they are older or because they have other risk factors. And many of you live with a grandparent or someone who is older, and so they're in that higher risk category. And we feel a responsibility to help protect you and the members of your family as much as we're protecting ourselves. And so that's why the distance thing is such a big deal. We know it's going to take a few days to get in the habit of walking that far apart down the hallway. We practiced it yesterday. It was actually on Thursday with several students, and we practiced being outside of being spread apart and still being able to talk to each other and doing those things. And there are some things that are challenging about it, but a lot of it is just getting in the habit of staying that far apart. So again, when we are reminding you at lunch, stay in your spots, that is because we have to do that distancing. When we remind you in the classroom, we have to do that distancing and in the hallways. And it's going to take a little bit to get used to, and we know that. But if we do that consistently, we have a much better chance of being able to stay in person in school and getting back to being all of us in school all the time quicker, because we're helping to protect not only ourselves and you protect you and us, but also the whole community, because it reduces the risk of what we're carrying home. And that's the main goal. And then I just wanted to talk to you really quickly about dismissal and leaving school. I know when you came in this morning, if you were a bus rider, you came in the bus loading doors and got your temperature checked. And if you're a driver, you came in the new addition and got your temperature checked. And if you were a car rider, you came in the front doors and got your temperature checked. When you leave today, you're going to leave out those same exits. So where you come in the morning is where you leave in the afternoon. We're going to try a staggered dismissal. We may have to adjust it a few times, but we're going to dismiss drivers. And if you ride with a driver at 3 o'clock, we're going to dismiss bus riders starting about 3:05. We don't know how long that's going to take yet. It might take us a little bit, so it might be a little delayed these first couple of days until we work it out. And then at 3:10, if your parent is picking you up, we're dismissing you at 3:10. And your parent will be parked in a spot in the parking lot, and at 3:10, you'll go out the front doors and meet them. But make sure, if you haven't told them already, you won't be dismissed until 3:10. So they don't need to be in a parking spot until 3:10. And because we're all carrying our backpacks and all of those things, when we leave, we exit straight from our classroom out. And I know this part stinks a little bit too. We won't be gathering in the parking lot to socialize and hang out. Like if you're a driver, got to get in your car, get your siblings to ride with you, and head on home. If you're a car rider, pick up at 3:10, got to get in mom, dad's car, grandma's car, aunt's car, and go on home with your family. You can stay after school for after school events, but you're going to go to the commons area and you have to stay in the same spot each time that you are here. So if you have practice on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 4 o'clock, when we dismiss parent pickup at 3:10, you will take your stuff and go to the commons area and wait for your practice to start at 4 o'clock, and you'll pick the same spot every time. And that's going to be something that's really important. It's just that we're always sitting in the same spot in every classroom and even at lunch every day. That way, if someone does get sick or someone does test positive for the virus, that we can do our part in tracing that and helping to protect other people. So those are the COVID reminders for today. I just want to go back and remind you that our main goal with you being here is to have you back here and to help you learn and push you in your learning. But the most important thing is that we are building a community of people who thrives together, not just in our school, but in our community at large. So I want to leave you with that. We have some more videos throughout the day of smaller things. I hope you have a fantastic first day of school. And if you need anything at all, please email me or Ms. Estes or Mr. McGann or even Coach Orr, and we will do our very best to help you in any way that we can. You guys have a great day.